My name is Stefan Menzies, and with my team I run a company called the International Partnership Programme. We're a company that proves that when many people pull together, great things can be achieved. Such people power is not only effective in private business and commerce, but is also very useful in charitable organisations and making a change to the world that we live in. We all witness such terrible and sad news, and we wanted to share with you some good news. Good news for you, and good news for your families, loved ones, and for people in the world who are suffering. For this short film, we want you to stop what you're doing, stop running around, and sit back and relax and listen to what we have to share with you. Today, we are holding this interview in a very special location. It's special because of the trees. Well, I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled to introduce you to a man who's obsessed with trees. A man who fell in love with a girl who originates from Africa, and through that he went to Africa and realised he wanted to devote his life doing great work there. He's not a tree hugger, he's not a tree surgeon, he's not even a lumberjack, but he did find a way that trees can make a massive difference in Africa, and his name is Rino Solberg, and he started a company 10 years ago called Better Globe, and I'd like to welcome you to Rino. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're a clever man. You've achieved so much in Africa in 10 years with your team at Better Globe. How did it all begin?
Well, it all started actually when I was 60 years old. I sat down with my wife and I wanted to discuss with her what we should do with the rest of our lives. We had then helped a lot of children in Africa. We saw the happiness from doing that, and we wanted to do something much bigger than ourselves. So we took on the job to find what was the biggest problem in Africa, and it came very easily. It was the poverty eradication that we should take on. So we took on to eradicate poverty in Africa as a goal. And then we had to find out how can we do that. And it was simple because 70-80% of people living in Africa are smallholder farmers, living from whatever they can get out of the ground. So we said we have to find a way to help them make more money. Then the trees came into the pictures, then microfinance came into the picture, and then of course we cannot eradicate poverty without educating the children. So the three main issues: planting trees, giving microfinance, and educate children. Those are the things that we came to in order to eradicate poverty.
And as I understand it, you do it with a company that works on sound business principles, where people buy trees and then you plant the trees and manage the trees for them and then provide a produce, a return, much like an investment for these people. And in fact, I know you've written a book, which I have a copy of here, which is a non-profit making book, is that correct? Just explain how you run such a business on basic business principles that does so much good work for Africa.
Well, first and foremost, in order to eradicate poverty, you have to use business principles. Everybody involved have to make some money somewhere. You start with the small farmers, they have to make money. In order to eradicate poverty for them, which is 70-80% of all the people, you have to raise their salaries. The way of making money is that they plant the trees and we buy the trees from them, we work with them and see to that they really eradicate the poverty one family at a time in Africa. But it must be based on principle of business. We call it social entrepreneurship. And since we have the Better Globe vision of planting as many trees as there are human beings on this planet, that will create a lot of work, doing a lot of good for the environment, not to mention that many of these smallholder farmers will make a lot of money in the process. So that kind of business is of course the one that we are going to work with in order to eradicate poverty.
So you help the local farmers to make money, but you also provide money back to people who bought the trees in the first place. So everybody's earning money and it's growing from within.
You see, charity is based on somebody's giving and not getting anything, and people say that's a good way, but the only thing is that most people know that most of the money given is not coming to the people who needs it. When it's based on business of principle, you can track the money all the way and you get the result that you predict back. And of course here it's based on the business that people buy a tree and they get profit from that tree when the tree yields money to them. Whether we have some harvest along the way or we cut the tree, which stands for 20 years, they get money back. So everybody involved in the process make money. So that becomes a sustainable business.
It seems crazy when billions of pounds have been given in donations to Africa that the image we have in the Western world of Africa is still of starvation and hopelessness. Is it? I assume it's not that hopeless.
No, in fact, it's the opposite. I found that Africa has the greatest potential of every continent. It's the poorest continent, yes, but the one with the greatest potential. But we have to do it the right way. That means you have to make sustainable business in Africa, and all the investors are coming in now to Africa. In fact, they're moving from Asia to Africa, and that is why I think it's great. When we do develop and do educate Africa, that will be one of the greatest continents in this world.
What I find fascinating about the work you do, and I look at the photographs of Better Globe, is that all of that growth and the energy and trees was on land that had nothing there. It was just dry land. How does that come about?
Well, that was the main idea in the first place, because we don't want to plant trees where they grow food. That's going to be scarce in the years to come. So we said that we have to find trees that grows in semi-arid land. And in fact, Better Globe Forestry is the only forestry company in Africa growing massive trees in the semi-arid. So we make you can say that we are greening the desert, or we take it from dry land to green land. So that the place where we plant trees was nothing before. When we plant trees, everything starts growing. Trees capture water, gets the whole thing, the soil gets better, and then we can in fact really get the farmers on the ground to plant anything they like, apart from the trees also.
It's quite incredible. So it literally is desert land with nothing on it, and you make something of it.
Yeah, that's correct.
In fact, you've actually got a magazine, another production from Better Globe. This is a tree farmers magazine for Africa called Meaty.
Meaty magazine is made for the farmers so they can learn how to make money on trees. We teach them, of course, but here they can read of other trees, other things, so they can expand their horizon when it comes to trees. So that is why we are publishing this magazine. And that is a magazine made by the professionals for the people who want to make money on trees.
I know you're not only obsessed with helping to eradicate poverty in Africa, but you also spend a lot of focus on fighting corruption. And I know you've got another book here, which is actually called Put Integrity First, and this is another non-profit making book which can actually be downloaded from your website.
That's correct.
Electronically. Tell me about your fight against corruption in Africa.
We started actually with eradicating poverty, but then very soon we found that there is no way one can eradicate poverty without looking into the corruption. Because where corruption is, poverty is, and when poverty is, corruption is. So in fact we divided. Better Globe is then eradicating poverty. Child Africa, which is an NGO, non-profit organization, is eradicating corruption. And my book, Put Integrity First, is the basis of eradicating corruption. We teach the children, when they are very small, how to be honest and have integrity, and they will not depart from that when they grow old. That is the philosophy. It will take time. But today, all the money poured in to eradicate corruption is mostly wasted, because the people who are corrupt today, they will remain corrupt regardless of money coming in. We start with the children, and we believe that some generations from now, these children coming up, and we have proved it already in the last 15 years we've been working with children, they are really champions, and that is what we are building. We're building champions in our schools.
I particularly wanted to talk to you about the children. I know that a lot of our education in life starts when we're very small, and we carry those principles and rules with us for life. And I thought it was very charming that you produced this magazine. I have a copy from you here called Bingwa, which you tell me means champion in Swahili. Tell me about this magazine. It looks great, and I wish I was a child again. I could get stuck in and do the comics and the puzzles and everything that's in it. Tell me about Bingwa.
Well, Child Africa is about educating children, and education is okay, and they have to read and write. But you see, the main thing is to build their personality. So we create the Bingwa magazine, which means champions, like you said. That is to create champions, because education is not enough. It must be good education, and it must build the kids. So when they grow old, they'll be strong enough to have integrity, be honest, and fight corruption themselves.
You know, there are so many problems in the world that we see on the news. It's very easy for people to be overwhelmed by the problems and do nothing, just assuming that someone else will sort it out. And these people go about their lives doing what they think are important things, buying cars, having dinner parties, doing things that just are existing, really. And what I'm hoping that you can share with our audience by my next question is the joy of doing something a bit different. I really want to know, why are you doing this, Rino? What is it that's driving you with Better Globe?
Well, that is a simple question for me to answer, because you see, I've been a businessman all my life, and I made money, I lost money, and I changed my system all the time. But when we started the Child Africa in 1991, starting to help children, to see the children themselves, how happy they were learning something, how happy they were in school, and not to mention their parents for getting their help, and the communities around. That is why actually that triggered to start Better Globe, to do it in a broader scale with sustainable business behind it. The whole thing with giving is actually, everybody knows it, but they don't think about it on a day-to-day. They like to give, and they like the happiness that they get when they give. Giving is the essence of everything. And when you give, the happiness you get by helping people who needs more than you, that is unbelievable. And I've seen people around, we have had people coming, young people coming to Africa, they have everything at home. When they come to Africa, they see people who has nothing, and they're still happy, enjoyable. So when they see this get this feeling, they will understand that life is more than just accumulating this and that and doing things. To help other people that need it more is the greatest joy that you can ever have in your life. That's why I want to be happy for the rest of my life. So the more I can give, the more happy I will be.
My children have been driving me mad for years to go on a safari. And I know, and I was very excited to read that you do trips to Africa, sometimes twice a year, for your people to go and have a look. People who've bought trees, they can actually see the trees that they bought, and they can actually go on safari at the same time. How are these trips organised? How's it going?
Well, it came past because a lot of our people who bought trees in the early days, they wanted to see that the trees really existed, and how they grow and where they're growing and all kind of things. So we started to combine it. We have an educational trip about forestry, and they see the plantation, the trees, meet the people, and we combine it with the safari so they can see the animals and things like that. So we have done that now 7 years. And we're going to do it this year in August, and next year the same. And that is the way we show what we are doing to people. And when they come back, they are really happy for what we have done.
I bet they are. It sounds like a wonderful trip. I actually can imagine it's probably better value than a trip to Disney. Why not go to Africa and see the real animals and see some great work and spend some time with the families there? And yes, I can imagine the joy that gives people.
Not only that, but you see, the joy is first and foremost from seeing the trees. That's one thing. Then they have the safari. That's the second thing. Then they go to see Child Africa in the school and hear the kids singing and dancing. That's the third thing. So it's a very three-dimensional thing. And when you come back from these trips, most of them say they have never been to more exciting trips in their lives.
Well, you certainly got our attention, and my company, the International Partnership Programme. We want to support you. We want to support Better Globe. We believe together with you we can continue to do great work, perhaps boost your efforts by working with all the people in our organisation, and continue to try to reduce poverty in Africa and to reduce corruption in Africa. And we are really looking forward to working with you and your team.
Thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be here, and also to be able to work with IPP in the years to come. And I think that together our organizations can make a big difference in the world. So thank you very much for looking into Better Globe and joining forces with us in our strive to eradicate poverty and corruption. We will definitely need all the help we can get. Thanks a lot.
Rino, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. I feel honoured to be involved. I really do feel honoured to be involved. I hope to see you here a lot more where our headquarters are in North Cyprus, but I know we're going to see more of you in Africa. and I am thoroughly pleased to be able to share your great work with the world, and we're going to do everything we can to support you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, and thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it.